What up, everybody? This is Super Mike 2164. Make sure you press the thumbs up button and share the message. And this is going to be very quick. I had a great conversation with my brother BMT early this morning. Make sure you go check that out. And my brother Leroy, my brother, James Doe actually came up from China, and my brother Ya was in the chat. So we had a decent, really good conversation. We challenged each other as men. And, so that was a great conversation. But I also did touch on some other points earlier than that. We touched on some things talking about, that of the police, the dang on, culture. We touched on toxic elements in the community, associating with people. How does that further the agenda? And that's what we actually had a contention on. So I want to actually touch base on that. See, the thing is, this is what I really like people to kind of understand. All of us have a purpose. There's a purpose to all of us. For example, my brother Leroy is very focused on a particular exposure of folks, and he also has a certain type of drive that leads him to be laser focused on his objectives, right? And so that is what he's focused on. If I could follow him in, if I agree with what he's doing, but he's got the energy, he's going to be the leader in that field. Now, my brother BMT, he's actually a very well-rounded brother, but he's actually good at defense. He has his culture, which is the Gullah Geechee culture. So a lot of knowledge was passed on to him. He probably just got organically, and he got it through, the series of cultures and all of the stuff that he just grew up around. And, so this is what he's very faceted. And that's just the beauty of brother BMT. So he also can connect with certain folks that, it's easier for him to connect with. Me, I have the same, personality. I have the same facet about myself. I have patience with certain people other folks don't have patience with. Now, the thing is, though, this is the guilt by association tactic. I don't like that, because the thing is, if you are talking to somebody, let's say a communication, for example, let's say this person you have a problem with, maybe they stole something from you, they cussed you out, or they told you can't, they created a situation what made you think that these people were untrustworthy. And let's say they are untrustworthy. Let's say they're a thief. They stole from the family. Let's say they stole from you. They're a thief. Now, some people don't have patience with that. They cut them off. But what I'm saying is, how are we going to fix, you keep cutting off, and pretty soon you're not going to have nothing else to cut off. You're going to have to learn how to cure some of this stuff. If you got toxic elements within the society, and these toxic elements keep reproducing themselves, you thinking you can cut everything off, it just don't work like that. It hasn't worked like that for white folks. It doesn't work. There is a point of detachment, but the only time you're detaching from somebody is when you don't have the patience, skill, or knowledge on how to handle that element of society. If you don't know how to handle that element of society properly, where it's solved, where it's either not reproducing itself, it's not, it doesn't transfer. For example, I'm gonna give this example real quick. Let's say we have an R. Kelly. Now, we know that his mother was toxic. So his mother, his sister is reported, sexually, was molesting their own son and brother. This is some weird stuff that was going on in that family. Okay, so as a kid, R. Kelly, as a kid, he was innocent, but he had this toxic element put on him, right? By people that he trusted. These are black people. So we're not saying that black folks or family members will not do dirt shit to each other. That's ignorant to believe. But my point is here is, if we are going to clean folks up, if you got to start at home first. You got to start cleaning up, trying to, if your personality can't deal with that, it's fine. But other people, now, for example, if other people can handle that and not lose their objectivities in calling out the stuff, then what's the problem? I don't understand that. That's some old break up, make up, crazy, insane stuff. My uncle, my mother, or my second cousins and all sorts of people, sometimes they argue with each other. That don't mean I'm not going to speak to either side of those people. I didn't have that argument. That wasn't me in that argument. That was an argument between those two peoples. I respect them. I'm not going to be in one person's presence and say something in this person's presence about the other person that I would not say with that person right there sitting there. And this vice versa. Everything, so that right there is not going to happen. But the thing is, you're going to have to learn how to clean up your society. And if you think jailing and shooting or excommunicating everybody who does something that you have deemed toxic to society just because we don't like what they're saying, well, that's not really going to work, because we don't have the power to shut their mouths. So to me, you're going to have somebody's going to have to deal with them. Now, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't deal with everybody, but there's some people I can have the conversation with. So my thing is, and then if there's some people that I can't have the conversation with, but other people can't have that conversation with, yeah, we got to think about that. So yeah, that's one of the points that we was going over, that's one of the points that we went over today, and I really wanted to, ask the family's conversation on that. It's a part of our culture. We got different regions of the family. Like BMT did a very great video, and he was showing about the culture that he grew up around over there in South Carolina. And see, this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that sometimes we might grow up with and we take for granted. And then when we see these toxic behaviors in other people, in other groups of people, we can't understand, because to us, this foundation was here. But you got to realize some families was ran off of their land, and you're dealing with the results of stuff that happened a long time ago. You may not have the patience to deal with that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, though, there's somebody in this world that's going to have to start kind of bringing some of these people back to reality. You might not be able to get that individual, but it's just another reason what we was talking about today. How can you teach verbally what you don't know? And we did make the determination you can kind of teach what you don't know through somebody else observing you. So they're learning, you're teaching, but you're not intending on teaching. You're not teaching verbally. You're just teaching by your either bad habits or good habits. But if you're not opening up, you're not communicating, you're not there for people to see either your bad behavior or your good behavior, how that element of knowledge is not there. So, somebody has to have the conversations. So that's what's happening. I'm not going to cut anybody off like that. That's one of my core principles. If I can deal with you, if I consider you valuable, ain't nothing you can do, until you do something where I'm going to cut you off. I don't have the patience with, and that's just my personality. So yeah, comment what you say. Now, everybody don't have to agree with that. I understand. Everybody ain't going to agree with that. They believe, oh, you got to cut people off, and you're going backwards and stuff. Okay, that might be true, but if you was raised in a different paradigm, there you go. And we all are programmed. We're programmed by our parents, by our culture, by the stuff that we involved in, what we was involved in when we were growing up. You are a programmed person. That's natural. There's nothing wrong with being programmed, but if you don't understand what programmed you, you kind of in trouble, because you're not studying yourself. You know, every single individual human being who can talk, walk, and think has been put in a culture that made them, that programmed them to think certain ways. That's it. Now, y'all don't believe it? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Press the thumbs up, like button. Peace. And like I said, try to have patience with people. Try to think about solving problems. Peace out.